New architects? Yes, please. Sam Carter is one of the best pitch screamers out there. He's a melodic screamer. I love the texture and melody in his screams, and he also has all the other techniques down super well. I'm excited to see how they're implemented here in this song. Haven't watched it yet, was saving that to experience it all with you guys. Let's get to it. Love that! All right, before we really dive into the singing, let's go back and experience this again from the very beginning. There's some amazing things going on that he's done in other songs, but man, right up front, I have to say I love the shots of the running shots of the gear, the keyboard, the guitar pedals. Oh, I gotta see it again. Just to illustrate how awesome his pitch screaming is, listen to that first part again. Living in your head! There's those notes, very understated and behind the huge false chord engagement that's going on there. And then there's two screams layered. We have the pitch scream that you hear him doing, and then you have the sigh-based or voiceless false chord scream underneath. But to just understand how amazingly he has these techniques dialed in, let's get there a little bit with our voice. Imprecise, living in your head. I'm going to call that the pitch basis, even though it's not quite as precise as that. And then I'm going to let my voice start to fall apart around those notes. Living in your head. You can hear my voice going in and out of that pitch engagement. And then cracking. This is my vocal break. I'm literally letting my voice crack in and out of those notes that I've predetermined in my head, which is basically what he's doing also. Living in your head! There it is. And that's contrasted with primary chords removed. Get there by sighing into it and then creating compression, adding support to that sigh. And then shaping the sound to get it super low with your mouth. Way more vocal manipulation techniques and mindset tweaks in my free course, linked in the video description and the first comment below. If you want to learn how to pull this stuff out of your own voice, join that free course. But the genius of Sam Carter is in the range of his tonal possibilities with his different types of screams and his singing, which we heard a little bit of. Let's do more. This wonderful bless. Oh, I cannot get over the camera work. Listen to this section and how he's constantly dipping into his primary chord engagement. Listen to that last section as an example. Want me to scream. There's some of it there. If we think about this technique almost like a slingshot, if I say the words, want me to scream, want me to scream, but every time I'm going higher, I'm pushing with my primary chords, I'm pushing up into that vocal break area. Want me to scream! Like that. And you have this contrast and this desperation that comes out by not always being up there in Screamville, but also not being down here in that desperate chest voice. Whoa, want me to scream, that's great. But you combine them, want me to scream. It's just a wonderful contrast. And he has this dialed in so we can go in and out of these two different engagements seamlessly, so much so that if you're not listening carefully, you don't even hear it. Listen to this section again and see if you can point out that contrast. Do you hear those little parts in there? I'm not! So cool. That layer is amazing. All those different vocal textures that are not his, and then to have the singing enter in light of all those other contrasts they've laid down with the vocal arrangement, just genius arranging. That's another thing about Architects that I've always really loved, is it's not just about the voice, it's about all the vocal textures, and the arranging is a huge part of what we're hearing and what we love about Sam's voice. Oh, that's a Chester Bennington type melody if I ever heard one. Let's talk about his tone. Let's get there. First, clean. Won't somebody tell me? Won't somebody tell me? Let yourself get there any way possible that's well supported. Now he goes between a higher engaged chest voice, and then for those higher pitch screams, a lot of times he's accessing mixed voice behind that brutality. But here, this is chest voice. And he's got a very bright tone. You can see it in the shape of his mouth. Won't somebody tell me? And then he's compressing into that sound quite a bit. That's where he's getting that mild grit. Mild in relationship to his pitch screaming, and a very different sensation, but wonderful and juicy nonetheless. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to maintain that note, and then I'm going to think holding back air over that note. In order to do that effectively, I'm going to start whining the phrase, making it sound a bit more like a dying cat. Once I've done that and thrown the resonance back, I'm going to push more, just like I'm lifting something heavy. That same sound, that same sensation. There won't somebody, but I don't want it to be quite that ugly. So then, now that I've got that coordination, I'm going to bring the resonance back towards the front of my face. Yeah, won't somebody tell me? Whoa! And we get that sound. Antichrist, Antichrist. Notice how he changes postures there? It's lower, but I love that he's employing that much tonal variety. This isn't Antichrist, which you might hear someone in several decades earlier employ. Sam does a great job of sort of tailoring his aggression so that we don't have just all out like muscles the whole time. This sort of tailoring creates a vulnerability in his voice that you don't otherwise hear in a lot of other singers. He gets it. Another interesting aspect of how he operates, though, is that even though he might relax his phonation a bit, Antichrist, Antichrist, he doesn't relax his diction. Christ, Christ. He still has that going on. You can understand what he's saying. There's a lot of rhythmic interest in his vocals because his diction, his consonants are up front, even as he relaxes his phonation. That's huge. Right, that's not Antichrist. The word Christ is divided up in a very specific, intentional, rhythmic placement. Love that. Oh. Enough! You hear him dropping down in his primary chord engagement. That blend is what makes his scream so compelling. I don't give a fuck. My head, my heart wouldn't be enough. I won't think twice. I'm afraid of the price of the price of case. We're not one big family. Change that so much. The layers, the kid sort of voices, for lack of a better term, the lows, the highs, the pitch screaming, and then the connection, the connected voice with his primary chords. It's almost too much to take in. It's I love that's right! That's right! Oh. That's right! Get it out, leave me on my rights. I'll never grow tired of your great advice. Won't somebody great advice! Great advice! There's that example, another one, of intentionally hyped diction around fairly relaxed phonation. I'll never grow tired of your great advice. Won't somebody tell me what I believe? I'm sorry for your sacrifice. Guess I must have sounded like the Antichrist. Another thing to keep in mind here is these are all these melodic parts, and some of the screams too, are all doubled and maybe even quadrupled. We've got this range, this spectrum that's happening, and he's singing slightly differently on each one of these takes. You can't just sing it once and then duplicate your tracks in your DAW and put different effects on them. These are different performances, and it creates this depth of layering based on these slightly different performances. He's holding his mouth maybe slightly differently on some of these takes. He's using a little bit more grit on some of these takes, a little bit less grit to bring out some of the melodic stuff. But in all of this, he's making sure his timing is intentionally on, so we don't have like and T and then T. We don't have a lot of that happening. Everything is very intentionally aligned. Oh. Are you happy now? Oh, that little ding right before the "Are you happy now?" Are you happy now? Dude, I felt it when... Huh, listen to what he's doing this with. Dude. The sung part goes up and meets the layered scream. That's pretty awesome from an arranging and performing standpoint. Dude, I felt it when they said we'll never love you when you're saying red. Ooh. Listen to how he falls back down into his primary chord engagement there on Seeing Red. That is amazing sounding and a really great example of what I've been talking about. And there's almost this whimper. Sing Red! Sing Red! Red! If you want to experiment with some of this stuff, it's great to transition out of all these different placements I'm talking about, transition into them, transition out of them, because it keeps you from being locked into one particular formation. This is where tension is released, is in embracing transition rather than trying to create one sound and hold that sound. And you can hear him doing that quite a bit here. Particularly at the end. It's not saying red, right? All one thing. It's this saying red. There's so much more character there and a vulnerability, and it's also better on your voice and easier to be intense without being tense. So clean there. Oh. And then that engaged compression, same voice, except there's that mild false chord engagement over his clean phonation. Read me all my rights. I'll never grow tired of your great advice. Somebody tell me what I believe. I'm sorry for your... I like how he's saying believe, not believe. That creates a roundness. He's slanting that vowel, and it makes the whole vocal sound warmer to say believe instead of believe there. I like that growl underneath. There's another one at the end. The last thing we hear out of his voice is a not the pure false chord engagement. Not only is this super interesting to me, all the different coordinations he uses to get his sound, but as someone who likes making these sounds and honing them and experimenting with my own voice, hearing and sometimes seeing Sam do these things inspires me endlessly to hone more sounds in my own voice. Thanks for watching. This is a great, catchy song in addition to all the incredible production. Great video. Again, if you'd like more help pulling some of this stuff out in your own voice, click that link below and join my free course. And for more on pitch screaming and some of the techniques that Sam is using specifically here, try this video.